Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. In this lesson, we are going to practice how to answer questions based on the grade 12 poem called What Life Is Really Like. So I'm not going to read the poem as a whole because I believe you guys know it. I'll just skip right through to the questions. The first question says, briefly describe the structure of the poem, and you must mention 2 points. Well, as we all know, this is a lyric poem. So we can say it is a lyric poem. Right. It consists of 43 lines. Has 43 lines of unequal length. Right. We can also say that it has 8 stanzas. You can also indicate, if you like, that it is written in free verse. So it doesn't follow any rules or any poetic rules. Right, but it is important that you write the amount of answers asked from you, because mostly you just write a lot of things that are not in relevance to the question, and you end up getting a wrong tick because you did not follow instructions. So it is very important to follow the instructions on the question paper. Correct. So let us go to 6.2.2. It says refer to line 8, and they have quoted to us that it says what life is really like. So we can see that the word really has been bolden out. This is mostly in poetry. We understand that when a word is written in bold or is written in capital letters or anything like that, it is quite most usual that it is to create an emphasis. So we can say that the word really, let me quote and write it in capital. The word really is written in bold to emphasize that the father, we are meaning the father of the speaker, wants the speaker to understand the difficulties, or you can say complications, of life. Right. Or there's another answer that you can add. You can say that it is to emphasize no, I do not want to say that. Yeah, it is to emphasize the importance of the father's message. As the speaker has not yet started to understand how challenging life is. Right, let's move on to 6.2.3. It says explain why the following statement is false, and says the speaker only observed his father when working. Well, no. We can say it is evident. I mean, we are told here that I was the one made to clench my palms around its pumping chest. This whole statement here tells us that the speaker did not only watch the father as he worked. It means that they also had a part in the duty. So we can say that it is evident from the poem that the speaker assisted the father as lines 18 to 20 state that the speaker, and let me quote, clenched their arms round its pumping chest. Right, that is evidence enough that the speaker also did some work. Okay, we move on. Let's get to 6.2.4. 6.2.4 says, the first question, it says refer to line 23 and the question A says identify the speaker, it says identify the figure of speech used in this line. Okay, let us go to line 23. Line 23 states that it's carotid throat. Well, carotid throat, when you think about carotid, you just think about a cut that is so bad. You understand that that is a very bad bruise. It is damaged to a point beyond, let's say, fixation. So here, when they say carotid and you think that that pigeon is still alive, you think that no man, this person is exaggerating the damage caused to the organism. So we can say that is a hyperbole. Well, a hyperbole is an exaggeration, a statement, a situation, or anything like that. And the second question says explain the figure of speech in the context of the poem. Well, we can say that the injured pigeon is not as injured. Let me just repeat the word injured. Is not as injured as the speaker says. Oh, I've thought of a new word. Let me say it is not as wounded. Yeah, it's not as wounded as the speaker says. So let's say it has obtained a minor scratch as the father is able to stitch. Father is able to stitch the wound. Right, let us go on to question 6.2.5. 6.2.5. There's a there. 6.2.5 says refer to lines 25 to 29. A says what tone would the speaker use in these lines? Let's go to lines 25. Lines 25 to 29 say that you see life is a fight for survival. He'd shout, forgetting he was not lecturing his students or giving his inaugural address. You gotta roll with the punches. Well, we can say he can use a very harsh or aggressive. So let's say harsh, or you can say aggressive, or you can also say it's a disgruntled, or you can say an irritated or annoyed. Say annoyed or irritated. There's a lot of words or synonyms you can use, just as long as they are in context of what the question is asking and they're in relevance to what the quoted lines are saying. Then yeah, we can say the harsh tone is used because let's not rush. So we have B here. It says, why would the speaker use this tone? Well, the speaker is angry, right? They are annoyed or they are irritated that their father are forgetting. So we can say that the speaker is angry because the father forgets that the speaker is his child and not one of his students. This just tells us that the speaker's father was a lecturer, right? Yes. You can also say that, let's say, the speaker feels exposed to the father's cruelty. And way of learning about the complexity of life, right? We're out of space. Let's clear some of the things at the top so we may provide a little bit of space for other questions. Yeah. Okay, so we are moving on to 6.2.6. The question says, refer to lines 30 to 32. Using your own words, explain the meaning of these lines. Okay, lines 30 to 32. Line 30 says, I waited and waited for that bitter, to 31 and 32. I waited and waited for that bitter roughness to spy me and a circle. There must be a grammatical error here. To spy me and circle into land. Okay, so we are told to explain what these lines mean, right? So we can say that the speaker is anticipating an experience of unpleasant treatment after an invasive surgery. Or we can say that the speaker is aware that something bad will happen in their procedure. Or we can say that the speaker is at the state of accepting the situation of being exposed to danger by their father. So let us write here 6.2.6 says the speaker is expecting to experience a tragic incident. Or you can say that the speaker is at a state of accepting The speaker is at a stage of accepting a situation, of being exposed to danger by their father. They refers to the speaker. Right. We have 6.2.7. 6.2.7. It says one of the themes in this poem is providence. Discuss this theme. Okay. The theme of providence is portrayed throughout the entire poem. So in discussion of this theme, we can say for the first point, and one thing you must remember is that themes are always answered in paragraph form. Don't ever write in in point form, because there's a possibility that you write incorrect things or you write things similar to the memorandum and it is said that you are copying. So to be safe, just write it in a paragraph form. Okay, so let's discuss the theme of providence. Well, the first point, we can say that the speaker's father tries by all means to teach his daughter about the challenges of life. We see this in the way he illustrated many dangerous or many painful scenarios to her when she was still a child. We can also say that the speaker now understands the inevitability of life and what her father was trying to prepare her for. We can also say that the father is now silent and has seen that the speaker has now faced the difficulties of life, and that hers was to undergo a surgery. Right. You can also say that providence is part of life. Providence is a part of life wherein humans cannot change the outcome of what has been planned, some sort of manifestation. So we can say that the father is at peace with the speaker's fate. When she is faced with a medical ailment. The ailment simply refers to her surgery. Right, to clear up here, to provide space for the last question. 6.2.8 now says that refer to the poem as a whole. In the end, the speaker learned what life is really like, and they say discuss your view. Well, when you are going to discuss a concept in poetry or in short stories in literature, you must indicate whether you agree or you don't agree, right? So you must give us points that are relevant to your stance, right? For example, if you agree, you must give us options or points that are in relevance to what you have selected. So here I'm going to give 2 answers for both yes or no. Excuse me. So 6.2.8, let's say no. The first answer, let it be no. So in no, we can say that the speaker experiences that chopping off the chicken's head can be seen as cruel an act which has nothing to do with the reality of life. And you can say assisting during the stitching of an injured pigeon is disturbing. To the speaker's experience and expectation. And lastly, you can say that the speaker goes through difficult challenges. Excuse me, the speaker goes through a surgery, but the father makes it difficult. As he shows no sympathy. Right. So these points are to support the stance of no. So we have also another point of yes. I believe you got all that. I don't have space anymore, but let me write it at the top. Right, so we have yes here. please don't forget to indicate whether you agree or disagree, because you can write as many points and they be correct, but without having shown us whether you agree or you don't agree, you are going to lose marks, a whole 3 marks. Imagine losing all of those marks just because you didn't indicate a silly yes or no. Come on guys, let's be serious. So and yes, we can say yes because the speaker has had an experience of the reality of life, when the father slaughtered the chicken and stitched the garroted throat of the pigeon and stuff. So we can say that the speaker had an experience of the reality of life when the chicken was slaughtered and the pigeon stitched. Can also explain to us that the speaker was taught through these activities that one will encounter that one will encounter physically painful experiences and they would be forced or they would be expected to endure. And lastly, you can say that the speaker, let's rub these off. You can say that the speaker has finally undergone their hard experience has undergone their tough experience of life when they had to toughen up. Let me quote this just as the father says, as when they had to toughen up after having undergone a surgery. Right, so these are questions that are going to arise or that are going to emerge in the question paper, and you need to be able to answer all these questions without hesitation or without a difficulty. I hope that was the best. All the best with your examinations.